Welcome back, everybody, to the channel. My name is Steven. This is Northwest Small Batch Brewing, and I hope you're all having a fantastic day. I'm really excited about today's video because this is sort of really it's the video I should have started with this channel. I think it was sort of the epitome of what I wanted this channel to be about, which is making brewing beer approachable and attainable by everybody. In simple terms, nothing too complicated. And so today I'm going to show you how to make what should be something like your very first ever beer. How to get into the hobby. How much is it going to cost? What do you need? And then I'm going to follow up with a video in a few weeks with regards to moving from 1 gallon batches to 5 gallon batches. You need to be thinking about that because at some point, if you do sort of fall in love with this hobby, you're going to want to probably end up going to 5 gallon batches. Anyway, if you like what you see, it helps me out a lot if you hit the thumbs up like button on the video. And then while you're there, hit the subscribe button, and that way you'll get notified each time I submit a new video. So let's start with today's topic, which is how to make 1 gallon of the easiest, least difficult, least amount of equipment type of stuff. You'll have a lot of what you need in your kitchen. There's only a few things you're going to need separately. So I made a whole list, right? I priced this all out. And I looked at the prices of different kinds of fermenters, including this one that you see here, the Airlock, the bung, a siphon, the actual one, all that stuff, right? And it came to about $70. Here's the thing. Northern Brewer is a home brewing website. And you can go to their website and they have a 1 gallon beer kit or starter kit that will include this fermenter you see right here. I think it has a spigot. I can't guarantee you, but I think it does. And it also includes everything else that you need. I'm not sure if it includes a hydrometer. You'd have to check and see. But I believe it includes enough sanitizer, at least for brewing 1 batch of beer. Basically, it gives you everything you need, plus the ingredients for your first beer as well. Plus, I think it comes with bottles. And they only charge you $77. Free shipping. Really? That is the best value that I could find. Let's talk about the ingredients for today. Basically, it's going to be water. I didn't pull it out of the fridge yet, but I got some hops. I'm going to use Citra Hops because I like them. They're sort of a, as the name would suggest, a citrusy flavored hop. And this is the main ingredient. This is, I don't know what CBW is, but concentrated brewer's wort, CBW. Golden light pure malt extract. So this is liquid malt extract. Don't get the powdered stuff. There are uses for the powdered stuff. Don't use it for this. It's so hard to work with. It's very difficult to get the powdered version to actually mix with anything. It's going to be a nightmare. Just get the liquid version, okay? Liquid malt extract. So if you look at the back of this, what this is your base malt. All beer is made from primarily base malt, and then sometimes you'll have some extra malts that are just for flavor, you know, different flavors. So someone has gone to the trouble of taking the grain, milling it into a coarse grind, and then steeping it like a tea in water for an hour at a specific temperature to get all the flavor and sugar out of it. And then they boiled it down into a syrup so that you don't have to. All you have to do is rehydrate this, and you basically got your beer without the hops. So we're going to add the hops. You can buy this stuff with hops. This specifically says unhopped. I have never seen the version that actually has hops in it, but I have heard that they do make it. And it even tells you how much of this, when added to water, how much you should get out of it sugar-wise. Remember I was telling you about this hydrometer and taking readings? This says on the back here, the starting gravity of this liquid is 1035 per pound per gallon. So every pound of this will give me 1035 on my hydrometer reading. Most beers, and in this case this beer, we're looking for somewhere around the 10.55 range. I priced out the ingredients, right? The malt extract, the hops, and the yeast. I didn't get the yeast out yet, but I'm going to use Safale 04 because I have some here and I want to use it up. You could use Safale 05. Any kind of ale yeast is fine. But I priced it all out, and it came to about $12.92 for making a gallon worth, which is about $1.29 per beer. So not too bad. So there's the numbers for you. There's the cost of doing something like this. If you're interested in trying home brewing as a hobby and you just want to see if you might like it, it's going to cost you around $70 for everything you need to be able to do what I'm going to do today and make your first batch of beer. It should make about 10 bottles. Depends on the size of your bottle, how full you fill them, but about 10 normal size beer bottles. So I'm going to clear some of this stuff off. I'm going to get a pot of water on the stove. So step one, I'm going to heat the water up to 175 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 80 Celsius, because that's going to be hot enough to pasteurize the hops to kill any kind of, wild yeast and stuff that might be on it. And we're also going to let it steep with the hops for about 30 minutes, just so it gives it a little bit of that bitterness and gives time for the flavor to pull out of the hops. I'm actually making a double batch. I don't want that to confuse you, but I'm doing a double batch because I'm going to use half of this beer for a different video that you will get to see. Well, just subscribe to my channel and you'll see when it comes out. 1 gallon of water, 1.5 pounds of malt extract, which is about half of this container. I'm going to use the whole container because I'm making a double batch, but for you, 1.5 pounds of liquid malt extract for half this container, because this container is a little over 3 pounds. All right, let me go clear this off and I'll be back. All right, guys, so I have 2 pots on the stove with a gallon of water in each. I couldn't really find a pot that was big enough to put 2 gallons of water total. So I'm going to have to split this into 2 batches, which works better, I think, because it'll make more sense anyway. So, as I said, the water on the stove heating up to 175, and then I will put half of this malt extract into 1 pot for 1 gallon, and I'll put a half of it into the other pot. We'll mix it up, and then we'll add some hops with it as well. Once it's all mixed up and it looks homogenized, we'll add the hops and set the timer for 30 minutes. I just want to make sure I try to evenly distribute it between my 2 pots. In your case, you're only going to have 1 pot, and that'll be fine. Remember, we're looking for 1.5 pounds. This is going to be a little over that. All right, so we're just about there. It's about 170 degrees. I'm a little shy of what I was hoping for, but we'll get it turned up. So I'm going to turn off the heat because I don't want this to scorch, right? So I'm going to turn off the heat while I'm doing this. And I'm going to see if I can pour about half of this in. And I don't know if you guys can see just how thick this is, but it's pretty crazy, right? That's what I was telling you. It's a little guesstimating here, so I might be off a little bit on the final sugars. It's fine, it's close, it's going to be pretty close. And I'm just going to stir this. I should probably turn the fan on here on the stove. I'm going to stir this until I'm pretty happy with it not, sitting on the bottom of the pot. I want it to be fully mixed in. Scorching is not good. Now, I'm going to turn these back on, if I can figure out how to turn on my own stove, because right now we're sitting at 160. And we wanted it at about 175. Actually, this one's at 175. So There's going to be a lot of turning on and off of your stove to sort of maintain the temperatures, and a lot of temperature taking. All right, next step. Let's get the hops in so we can start our timer. So, hops. This is a Citra Hops, as I told you. We're going to use, all right, so we're going to use anywhere from 1/8 of an ounce to 1/4 of an ounce. Yeah, that's good, 0.14. So somewhere around 1/8 of an ounce. I am going to use this guy. This is a tea infuser, like hot tea, but it'll make it easier for me to be able to get it in and out. In it goes. All right. That one's almost back up to 175. Set your timers for 30 minutes, and I will be back, and we'll move to chilling it down. So I'll see you in 30 minutes. All right, guys. So the hard work's done. It's been 30 minutes. So what I'm going to do now is fish out that little ball of hops, and then I'm going to put this in the sink, and I'm just going to fill water from the tap, up to close to the top. And I'll probably have to change the water out a couple times, but it'll bring the water down pretty quickly to about 70 degrees. And then I will be back to tell you what happens after that. All right, guys, so here's where we're at. Hopefully I've got this situated so you can see everything. So I've cooled it down to like 76 degrees. It's going to cool a little bit more as I pour it in. I just put it into this container long enough to make sure I had a gallon. And I do. Actually, I have a little more than a gallon, which is fine. What was I going to say? I should say, as a reminder, everything that comes in contact with this liquid, whether you're stirring it or you're taking a measurement for the temperature, everything that comes in contact with it has to be sanitized with the Star San sprayer bottle, or however you're doing it. We call that the cold side. Everything that comes into contact, once you've turned that heat off, has to be sanitized. Or you end up, taking a risk of introducing bacteria or wild yeast, things that you don't want. Now I got one more thing I want to do here besides recheck the temperature one last time. And that is aerate it. I'm going to be a little careful here because I don't know how well. Let's see if that works any better. Man, I should do this over the sink, I suppose. Just trying to aerate it a little bit. This is a little better. I just didn't have the top on. You want to shake it and try not to get a mess everywhere like I did. So, one thing here you'll note is that we need an airlock. Once we put the yeast in, it's going to start producing alcohol and CO2 and stuff. So, all right, so I'm going to put the yeast in. Again, this is Safale US 04. It's a British ale yeast, which will work just fine. You don't have to do anything but just pour it in. That's it. Easy peasy. If you want to sanitize the packet before you open it and whatnot, some people do that. I've never done it and I've never had an issue. So I'm going to put some sanitizer in my airlock. I don't know if you can see this or not on my camera. I can't tell. But I'm just going to fill this up with sanitizer, not all the way up. There's a fill line on these. You don't need to fill these all the way up to the top. It's actually better that you don't. And really, I don't know if this part's as necessary, but the cork, right? The cork or bung that goes in the bottom. Like I said, everything needs to be sanitized at this point. Now, I know this one's kind of a tight fit. This, there we go, that's good. So, we're all set. This is good for 30 days. So, all right, I will see you back here in a month, and we will bottle this up. So, Thanks for hanging out. I'll see you in a bit.
One eternity later.
All right, guys, it's been a month. I'm making this real quick because I didn't realize this video is already like over 30 minutes. It's way too long already. So I'm going to sort of skip through this real quick, but I'm going to move this. You can use an auto siphon to transfer it into the bottling bucket. There's a lot of debris for some reason in it, and so it'll help to move it into a bottling bucket. Also, I'm going to put in 1 ounce of white sugar per gallon for priming, so it'll be carbonated. So I will probably put like 1/4 cup of water with 1 ounce of sugar and dissolve it, and then mix it in. Let it cool down a little bit, mix it in. And then I'll fill up the bottles, and I'll see you back here in a couple weeks to try this out. Sorry for the lack of extra video, but yeah, this is running too long. So I'll see you in a couple weeks.
2 weeks later.
All right, guys, so finally done. Here it is. Our extract beer ended at about 5.1%. I don't know, you can't really tell through the bottle, probably not through the video, but I can see that it's really clear. It did obviously sit for 2 weeks to carbonate. There's really not a whole lot of yeast on the bottom. Let's see if I got any kind of carbonation. There's something there. That's always a happy sound when you bottle condition. Here we go. Yeah, I can see carbonations. That's a happy sign. I did use a clear bottle on this, but I had it, in a box when it was, yeah, it's hardly any yeast when it was bottle conditioning. So, that's nice. It's a good color. It is hard to tell on the camera, but yeah, I can actually see through it, and it's very clear, even though it's dark amber. Now this was a light, was it light amber? It's got a nice head retention on it. Interesting, sort of a spiciness to it. This was golden light. I expected a really light beer, so this is interesting. And this was Maris Otter, I think they used for this. I'm getting the citrus from the hops. Remember, I used Citra Hops in this. I'm getting like a pineapple-y smell off of it. Ooh, I like that. All right, let's give it a taste. Oh, yeah. Guys, there's this term going around, or maybe it's been going around for a while, but it's called, smashable. This is a smash beer because it is a single malt and a single hop. But it is smashable in the sense that you could really down these. I mean, it's smooth. There's not much bite. 5% for this. I mean, and it has this lovely sort of pineapple aroma. And wow, that turned out so good. I'll tell you what, if this is your first beer that you make, man, you'll be happy. I mean, I'm happy with it. I mean, this took no time at all. I didn't even boil it. Remember, it was just 30 minutes at 75 degrees just to pasteurize it. Damn, I might have to do this again. Yeah. Honestly, surprised, because I expected sometimes, I don't know, sometimes weird things happen with extract beers. They smell a little differently and whatnot, but man, I mean, I couldn't be happier with this. This is fantastic. It's like a pale ale. It really is like a very light pale ale with this really pineapple-y taste from the hops. Man, super happy with that. Dang. That's awesome. All right, well, recipe is in the description as usual. Super easy beer to make for your first time, and really tasty. So I highly recommend it. Stay tuned. Next week I'll have another video Should I give you a little spoiler? Next week's video is going to be a little discussion on how to go between, or how to go from 1 gallon to 5 gallon batches, and whether you should consider increasing your gear for 1 gallon or just jumping to 5 gallon. Anyway, I have a little discussion and thought about that, but you'll have to wait until next Monday for that, and stay tuned. So make sure you subscribe and you'll get notified when that comes out. And then the week after that, I mean, if you've been watching, you already know that I did 2 batches of beer. I split this batch into 2. So the week after that, you'll see what I did there. I already said it in a prior video, so it's not a super spoiler. But anyway, good things to come. Good things to come, my friends. So yeah, thanks for stopping by. Thanks for subscribing and liking and all that stuff. And happy brewing, and I'll see you guys in a week. Bye for now.